If you fail to plan, you plan to fail. You heard me right. If you fail to plan, how are you going to attempt the question paper? How are you going to select the kind of question you want to attempt amongst the options? What will be your strategy of attempting each question? How are you going to plan your time and divide your time in order to successfully complete the paper in time? If you fail to plan all of that beforehand, you plan to fail, my dear. So in today's video, we are going to unfold the best strategy, the best way of how to approach a question in the drawing section of your exams, how to manage your time, mistakes you need to avoid during the exam while attempting the questions, and the best way to have the most creative answer amongst all of the other students to grab immediate attention of the examiner and hence get more marks and get a good rank and get into your dream design college. So let's get started with today's video. A big hi to all my future designers. Lots and lots of love, and I cannot express enough how you guys make me feel in 7th heaven always whenever a video is out. You guys come flocking to my videos, you appreciate in the comment section, you like the videos. I always have a whale of a time reading to all the messages you send me and replying to each one of you. I remember most of y'all's name, and I'm just feeling a little sad that you guys are going to leave me right after you are in your dream college, after the exam. But I have small news to tell you all that we have a long journey to go together, because soon I'm going to bring a lot of videos on how to perform and make the most out of your design college journey, how to fetch international internships the way I did, how to become a 10-pointer like I was. I'll share all my experiences and further guide you with the placements and everything possible that I can to help you have a fruitful journey through your design college and an awesome rocking career after that. So be with us throughout your college journey as well. Let's now come back to the main topic of today's video. First tip here is to be absolutely clear about the exam pattern of what is going to come in the exam so that you don't get any surprises when you are sitting for the exam. Although we've done a detailed video explaining everything that is going to come, all the sections and the marking weightage of each paper, the link you'll get in the description box below. So for all of those who are watching this video first, let me brief you about the marking scheme. For NIT, you can have an unexpected pattern each year, as the DAT prelim is for 100 marks in total. That includes both drawing section as well as the multiple choice questions from the theory part. So there can be around 4 to 6 to 7 questions related to drawing, and the marking scheme can have a variety, like some questions of 5 marks each, a few questions of 1 mark each, others can be of 10 marks each. So there is no defined pattern on how many exact questions will be there, and there will be multiple questions with different weightage. So you have to perform and put your efforts as per the marks it carries, and you have to complete both the section together in 3 hours of time. So dividing time accordingly is very important. Now let's talk about the NIFT exam pattern. So there are going to be maximum of 3 questions in the drawing section, and each question will be of 30 to 35 marks. So if it's a 100 marks question paper, the marking scheme could be 30, 30 and 40, or 35, 35 and 30. So the first most important thing to note here is that each question that is of 25 to 30 marks won't be judging just 1 or 2 skills of yours. It will have a lot of different criteria on which you will be judged, and that will differ for the second question as well as for the third question, apart from some common qualities that they would see. For example, there is a comic strip designing question. You have to design a comic strip in 4 boxes. So if it's a 30 marks question, approximately 10 marks would be given for the concept, your idea, how different it is, how differently you have visualized the same scene which others are also visualizing, and what is uncommon and unique and what is wow about your idea. 5 marks for your typography, maybe what kind of font you are using. 5 marks for the kind of colors you've used, your color sensibilities. 5 marks for your overall layouting and composition, and just 5 marks for your drawing skills. And most of you usually spend so much time just in showing your drawing skills, and you just get 5 on 5 in that portion. But what about the rest of the portion? And then you don't understand that I made a beautiful drawing, but still I could not score that well. Why? Because they are not just judging you on your drawing skills. They're looking at your unique idea, they're looking at your unique typography, they're looking at your layouting. So all of these things matter. So equally spend time on processing what all you need to show to the examiner, that how great you are in all the aspects of a drawing. So this video today will be divided in two parts. One is how to approach each kind of a question, what do you need to show to the examiner, and second would be the things to avoid in such kind of a question, the common mistakes that can hamper your rank. That will go hand in hand in each topic in this video. So the first question, or you can say one of the question will be asked in the exam, would be an observation based question, such as a memory drawing of a park scene or a road scene or a hospital scene, any such thing. So these questions are not there to judge your design skills. Okay, first, design and drawing, what are the difference? I hope you all are clear. If not, let me tell you. Drawing means to draw something. It can be something that you've seen already, a previously existing or drawn thing. So that is drawing part. Design on the other hand means when you design something new, when you're inventing something new or you're conceptualizing something new that is not done before. So designing a chair would just not mean to draw a chair, but it would mean to invent a new kind of a chair with a new concept, with a new ideology. So that is design. And drawing means just to draw. So whenever in the question there is a term, draw this scene or illustrate that scene, that means they are just checking your drawing skills there. So you don't have to create or invent something new. Let's say there's a question in the exam, draw or depict or illustrate a hospital scene. Okay, so what is the examiner looking in this? How much observant you are and how good your drawing skills are. Means how much more things can you recall from your memory that would be there in the hospital. For example, everybody would remember a corridor, some doctors, some nurses, a reception, the hospital sign and all these things. People who will go beyond the regular things and will remember that okay, there is a clock timer for your turn above the doctor's room's door. Okay, there's a sweeper in a uniform, sweeping all the tiles. Then there are maybe posters of children or something if it's a kids hospital or something related to that. So that kind of an observation skill they are checking. But you don't have to create a different kind of a futuristic hospital or something very unusual or new kind of a hospital that does not exist, because you don't have to waste time on idealizing that thing because it does not carry any marks here. Now the question arises that if we have to depict a regular scene only, then how will your answer or your sheet stand out than other people who are attempting the same question? How to be creative indirectly in such a question as well. So here's a trick to it. Evoke an emotion. Touch examiner's heart. How can you do that? Imagine if I'm checking your papers and I'm seeing the same corridor scene with nurses and doctors, one after the other. 80% of the students have done these. And one student has made the same scene in maybe 2-point perspective, whereas others are just doing 1-point perspective. Or someone did it in a 3-point perspective. I would stop and watch that paper, give more time to that paper and give more marks as well. Somebody has maybe taken a shot of a hospital's room where an old man who's sick is looking outside the window, seeing the people play and move around, and the emotions on his face are just saying, wow, I'll also walk one day and go out of this hospital and experience the world around. Or maybe an ambulance that's just arrived and there's a crying child whose father maybe met an accident and the wife is all sweating and crying, and the tensed faces of the doctor rushing to the operation theatre. Or maybe a long line at the medical dispensary of the same hospital. So you can add the basic elements of the nurses and the wall clock and the hospital scene in the background and capture the main scene from some other angle, from some other view, which is generally an everyday scene, but we don't remember it always maybe. So that kind of a sheet would 100% fetch more marks than others. So you can be creative, choose a different spot, you can choose a different angle from where you represent the same scene they've asked you to do and get more marks than others. Now one mistake to avoid here, which a lot of you creative minds are going to do maybe, but I just want to warn you for that. And that is, suppose you are given to depict a road scene or a traffic scene or something related to that. And you chose not to just draw a simple road and simple traffic lights and everything, because there's no big deal, in depicting what they've asked you to depict. Everybody will depict it because the questions are not very difficult. The difficulty is to bring something extraordinary within the same surroundings to delight the examiner. So suppose in a road scene, you thought of maybe capturing a traffic policeman who just got hold of two bikers bunking the traffic light. And you thought this is a great scene, and I'll make this scene in the foreground, and the background I'll depict the traffic lights and the regular vehicles and roads. That's a great idea. But you're not good with human figures. But you're still trying to, score more on that idea part. But eventually you end up making clumsy humans and the examiner is not very much pleased. You lose marks. So the trick here is to play with your strengths. Play with the things you're very, very good at. Suppose if you're not good with humans, but you're good with objects, with drawing vehicles and objects, maybe you can depict a scene of a busy traffic light where a lot of vehicles are standing and there's a truck which is in the main foreground. There are a lot of household objects like refrigerator or swing machines or something like somebody's house luggage is going somewhere, suitcases and all those things, very nicely kept, and something is falling out of that. So maybe a container full of utensils got opened by a chance and some spoons and forks are falling out of that truck. That's an interesting sight, right? And you're good with objects, so don't draw humans or just draw the backside of humans, other humans sitting around on a scooty, right? So be very smart. Don't show your weaknesses to the examiner. Make a mix of your strengths plus creative ideas plus a different angle, and then serve to him that nice sweet bowl of the perfect flavor of everything in it that the examiner is pleased, and you're bound to go ahead with your marks. Now mistake number 2 to avoid it. Sometimes in the exam, it is not just given draw a road scene or a hospital scene. Sometimes this observation based question is too detailed. They tell you everything, like you're on a boat, you're going in north direction, people on your right are praying, people on your left are dancing, or there is this on your boat and it is this time of the day. So that kind of questions, be very, very attentive to those questions. So always first, in the rough space provided, in the bullet points, write down all the things you have to include in your composition. Write down, it is evening time, it is one boat, lake, 2 side stairs, everything, whatever is there. Then draw a rough thumbnail. As I always say, I've done a detailed video on step by step how to draw a composition in the exam on the question paper, starting from brainstorming the concept to the finishing of the final design. If you've not watched that video, watch it after this video. The link is given in the description box below. And now, how to be different in that kind of a question where everything is already predefined? Look for that little gap where you can go out and give a twist to the scene. But you don't have to miss any of those things as well, because it's very important to have the eyeballs on your sheet. So maybe your boat is going in a north direction, say, and you've drawn everything. And there's maybe your small little brother on the boat, and he's leaning on the edge of the boat and trying to catch fish. That would be an amazing twist or an amazing sight in the whole composition. Maybe there's a different kind of compass that's pointing north and south direction on the boat. Maybe you have your favorite books or a camera and a shopping bag, some things you shopped from around that area on the boat. So something like that. Think of your own ideas. What could be there that can be added to your drawing? And don't overdo a lot of things. Just one little thing is good enough to make you stand out. Okay? So don't do a lot of hodgepodge trying to do, make so many different things in the same. It'll be like a khichdi. So don't do that. Keep your paper very smart, neat. Just a little twist somewhere will just make your drawing stand apart. That's it. Third mistake to avoid in that kind of question is, sometimes it is said that you are sitting in a boat and you are looking at the scene, so illustrate the scene. And most of you end up drawing your own self completely in the scene. Like you show the scene like somebody else is viewing from the top and you are visible, the boat is visible. How can you see yourself when you're sitting in the boat, dear? So be very, very careful while reading the question from where the scene is being viewed from. What kind of a perspective then you'll choose according to that place where you are sitting or standing and viewing the scene from. All of this matter. The questions look very simple, but they are judged on little things that you guys miss usually, that hampers your rank. So my students are not going to do any such silly mistake, okay? Now the second question would be something that judges your awareness towards your environment, towards your surroundings, because they want to know how aware the design students are. So that would be a question like draw a stamp or draw a postcard or a poster on some environmental issue. This year it can be anything related to coronavirus, to Kisan rallies, to vaccines, to any other prominent issues. Or it can be a general government's initiative. It can be totally different as well. You can never. So the marking criteria of these kind of questions is usually, again 7 to 8 marks for the concept, how unique your concept is. No common concepts or copied from internet or anywhere would work. The guys who are checking your exams are expert in this field. They are very well aware of what's available on internet, what's a copied idea and what is your own unique idea. So you cannot fool the examiner on that. That's why I always say, whenever you do practice, whenever you do reference drawing, always give your own version to that drawing. Even if you're drawing a poster's idea from somewhere, you're imitating it, you're taking a reference, try to give your own twist to it. Try to make it at least 30% different, 30% of your own ideas, so that it is your own idea and not a copied idea. Always try to mix two ideas and bring a new idea of yours, or from your own mind, brainstorm and think. In our course, we teach how to uniquely brainstorm and come up with the ideas that will wow the examiner and that will be different and unique from everybody else. But here I'm telling you again in brief, try to make your idea as original and unique as possible. So 7-8 marks for the idea. Next 5 marks would be for your layouting. What kind of a layout you have chosen. Have you left the proper margins from all the sides? Is your composition well balanced? And all such things. Then 5 to 7 marks would be for your font, the typography used. Does it go with the kind of topic you have chosen? Is it properly spaced? Is it neatly done? Then 5 to 7 marks for your coloring maybe. Another 5 marks could be for the additional information that you provide, the ministry that is related to that issue, the logo of that ministry, the slogan of that ministry written down, issued in public interest by that. So more information, what extra you can provide to the examiner is how much extra marks you can get in return from them. Now, how to increase your awareness? How to be more aware of your surroundings, how to know the maximum around your surroundings that can help you in your design entrance exam. We have done a video on that. The link to that video is also given in the description box below. The last question, or one of the remaining question, would be a design related question where you have to design something. So now you know that design means you have to come up with something new, something innovative, something interesting, something that does not exist before. So if you are asked to design a chair maybe, or you are asked to design a pencil, so that would be something that is based on problem solving. As I always say, design means problem solving. To improvise something, to recreate something for the betterment of the society or the people who are using it, for the enhanced functionality of that product, for the better usage, the easier usage of that product. So read the question carefully. What is the purpose of that design? If it's a chair for a handicapped person, so you have to think of, okay, what are the problems a handicapped person faces? Maybe he needs to pick up little things that he cannot stand up and pick up. So it should have an ease of movement. It should have good backrest. It should have some holders for, maybe pen or a book holder, or a space tray where he can keep a laptop or a book to read, place his sunglasses, or whatever things you can think of that chair can particularly have. If he wants to stand, maybe a handle comes out and the person can hold it and stand up from that chair. All those crazy ideas, all that possibilities that can sensibly be designed to have a better experience for that person is called designing. You don't have to make a colorful chair or designing it or decorating it with anything. It has to be functionality driven. One common mistake that most of the students do in such questions is that they go crazy with their ideas that are not very sensible in the real life. You can imagine things that can exist in future, maybe not today, maybe 50 years from now, that is fine, but something that will be practical at some point. For example, if you're asked to design a t-shirt or a uniform, say, for example, for a Tibetan hotel, so that uniform needs to look like a uniform. You can be very creative within the boundary of a uniform, means you can take inspiration from Tibetan culture, you can take inspiration from Tibetan flags, you can take colors from them, you can place maybe one symbol on one side or on the back side, or inspired from Tibetan clouds. Their skirts could have cloud prints and simple shirt. So balancing is very important. For example, if your design is presented to the actual owner of that Tibetan hotel, do you think he will pick your design thinking, wow, it's a very innovative idea? So don't design for the sake of designing something very flamboyant or avant-garde. Design something that is smart, practical and good to implement. So don't miss on two things. One thing is take inspiration from something. maybe from the kind of restaurant it is designed for. If nothing is mentioned, just a restaurant is mentioned, maybe you can take inspiration from any art movement like Cubism or Expressionism. Maybe you can take inspiration from any handicraft of that particular area. Suppose the restaurant is in Gujarat, so it has Gujarati traditional textiles incorporated in it. Something like that. Always derive an inspiration. Try to keep that inspiration source as different as possible, that examiners feels like, wow, okay, this person is well read about the history of design, about famous designers or painters, and is well aware of things. That's why he's taken inspiration from that particular thing. And explain that in the write-up very nicely. Colors inspired from this, designs inspired from this. Explain everything in your write-up and make the write-up very interesting and easy to read. Don't write a boring write-up, in my design I am doing. No, make it as innovative, as creative as possible, so that in 2 seconds the examiner can pick up what your design is all about. So the next question in the exam can be mix of 2 of the questions. One, your observation skills as well as your imagination. Like you woke up one day and noticed that the lampshade of your bed was talking to you. Imagine the dialogue between you two. Imagine the conversation that happened between you two. So when they say imagine what happened or give you full freedom of how wild can you go, you can go as much wild as you want. That's totally fine. You don't have to be sensible. You don't have to be restrictive. Anything, all the superhero movies you've watched, anything beyond this world, the maximum marks given on that question is your creativity, like maybe 15 marks for your creativity, the different idea you have, then 5 to 7 marks for your execution, how well could you explain it, maybe 5 marks for your coloring and overall layout. So imagination based questions has maximum marks to your different idea, like a journey to Mars or all those things. People have just explained the journey to Mars. How can you build a story around journey to Mars? How different can it be? Maybe somebody didn't want to go to Mars, he wanted to go somewhere else, but by chance landed upon Mars. Or maybe Mars was not just a planet but something else. Think about it. Let the horses of your mind go haywire and get you the weirdest or the uniquest of idea ever. And be confident to implement it on the exam sheet. I'm sure you are going to fetch maximum marks out of that. So in the exam, which question to attempt first? The first step should be to read all the 3 questions. And there'll be options given to you under each question. Like suppose if there's a memory drawing scene you have to draw. So you'll have 3 options. Suppose a festival scene, or B could be draw a circus scene, or 3 could be draw a street play. From all of these 3 options in question number 1, you have to choose one. Now which one should you choose? Okay, so ideally try to avoid the one option that will be very easy for most of the people to draw, and 80% of the students are going to attempt that. For example, a traffic scene is something that everybody would be able to attempt somehow. So that's the easiest amongst a street play or any other little less common scene. So try to attempt the less common one, because that immediately grabs examiner's attention, because you have attempted something which others are not willing to attempt maybe. Okay, so number 1 is that. Number 2, from the rest of the 2 options, try to choose one in which you can show maximum of your strength. Suppose you are good with animals drawings, so something that can use those animal figures you have practiced or those human figures you are very handy with. Like I always ask you to keep 2-3 figures handy with you, like a child figure running or walking, a male figure walking or running, and a female figure walking or running and sitting. For all of these 3, these 7-8 figures you must be very quick and handy with. You can just change their clothes. If it's a joker, you can make them wear a hat, make them wear a joker nose. If it's a party, you can make them wear masks and style up their dresses a bit. If it's a hospital scene, you can make them wear a coat and show them as doctors and nurses. But a walking man and a walking lady, sitting man and a sitting lady, a little child figure, these 7-8 things should be very quick. You should be well practiced with them. Okay, so from those 2 questions, choose the question where you can use your strengths, whatever you're good at, choose that and then compose that scene. And do this selection for all the 3 questions so that you are clear what 3 things are you going to make in the exam on that day. So once you've decided which that question would be, the second step would be drawing a rough thumbnail of your concept. Question, write down the details, think of your own creative ideas, idea 1, idea 2, idea 3, like that. Write down on the paper, think and brainstorm. Give your starting 10 minutes of each question to idea generation and brainstorming. This is very, very, very important. If you rush on to drawing directly, I'm sure you're going to make something very ordinary and then get ranked between 3000 and 4000, and then next year you think we'll take a drop and ma'am we'll do it again. So this is the time when you have to show your creativity, your ideas, your awesome skills that you have to the examiner. So that 10 minutes and 15 minutes of the planning phase is going to fetch all the results that you want for yourself. So after those 10 minutes of creative brainstorming, once you are done with the kind of idea you want to do, the second step is to place that idea very lightly, drawn very lightly on the answer sheet. Don't start drawing with the full pressure of the pencil. Just light drawing of like, here are the buildings, here is the car, here this will come, this will come. Complete composition, just place it on the paper without darkening the lines, without any details, without any coloring, and see if the whole space is equally balanced. If there is something else you need to add, erase something that is not looking nice or that is not mandatory. Look if you have added all the important things and your perspective and your eye level, everything at that particular point, and then leave that question and move to the next question, and then spend 15 minutes there, plan everything, do the light sketching on that, make the full composition. Before you do the detailing, before you do the coloring, move to the third question and again do that. So first 1 hour, which is the most productive hour of yours. You know, in the exam it's always like your first 1 hour is a very productive one, the middle one is little normal, and the last one is the worst part of your exam when you're rushed up, you're under pressure, the things are not completed and all those things, and that is the time when you cannot think creatively. And this is a creative design exam. This is not a fine arts paper where just your skills will work. Your mind has to be equally creative, attentive. So for that, utilize the first 1 hour for all the 3 idea generations and little basic outlines. Now, what's the benefit of this strategy? The benefit is, then even if you're not able to complete all the 3 drawings, but your idea will be there, your placement will be there, the objects will be drawn without coloring and everything, it will fetch you maximum marks. In case you spend too much time on detailing on the first question and there is less time left for the second question. Usually students do this, they start drawing one and they get into details and beautifying. It takes 1.5 hours to quarter to 2 hours already for that. And when they come to second question, it's already more than half time gone. And third question, sometimes they're not able to start or think about in the last moment. They just do an average drawing, and you know, from out of those 30 marks, they just get 5 or 7 marks. So it's very important to set the ideas of all of 3, do the rough sketching, and in the last 1.5 hours to 2 hours, all you have to do is just do the detailings. Take care of all of these things. You know what question is demanding from you. You know how to be very different in a typical common question. You know what kind of question to select. You know how to step by step attempt that question. You know how to manage your time. If you do this much exactly the way I've tried to explain it to you, I am pretty sure that you're going to rock this year's exam. So now you know the clear approach, because I didn't want you to struggle just the way I struggled at my time when, you know, these coaching institutes were charging such high fees and there was nobody to guide me and explain things in this way, not even the coaching institutes. All the very, very best for your exam. I'm equally nervous and excited for all of yours exam than you guys would be. Waiting to have amazing happy faces coming out of the exam hall and writing to me, how well did your exam went? So be positive, be happy, know that you know everything, feel confident. Whatever you have practiced, whatever you have done, it is good enough for you to crack this year's exam with good rank. Trust me. And also, since you need to be high on motivation throughout the left time of your exam preparation journey, you need to have regular assignments, regular quizzes to solve. You need to do thorough revision of everything. So all that has been taken care of on our Instagram page. If you've not joined it yet, make sure you do that, because it has just been formulated for you guys to help keep you all on track with your preparation. So I trust you guys that you are going to make me proud. I hope this video was beneficial for you, and if yes, do subscribe to this channel, give this video a like, and let me know in the comment section if you have any other doubt and query that I can help you with. All the very best. Bye-bye.